Today I'm breaking down the 10 Airbnb mistakes that quietly drain over $1,000 per month from your listing. And here's the part that most hosts will miss. These don't always look like mistakes. And I can tell y'all, so we've been hosting Airbnb for almost a decade. We've hosted over 10,000 guests, earned about $1 million on Airbnb annually. And some of these mistakes took us a long time to recognize and sometimes even longer to correct. That's because your calendar may look full. Your reviews may even be fine. You may have a beautiful listing, but you could still be losing money every single week without knowing exactly where that money's going. And so as we walk through these mistakes, I want you to keep track of one thing. Which of these may feel small? Because usually that is the one that's costing you the most money. So let me start with something I see constantly, a gap between what your listing says and what it actually shows. And so we have this property right here in Kansas City, the Hyde Park neighborhood to be specific. And we were trying to attract midweek stays. Think remote workers, traveling professionals, traveling nurses even. So in the listing, we wrote things like dedicated workspace. And I can tell y'all at the time that seemed reasonable. But when a guest actually clicked on our listing, it showed the living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, the small outdoor patio area. But the workspace wasn't as visible in that listing at the time that we put it up. No desk, no chair, no extra monitor, no extra outlets. And so for a while, y'all, we thought demand was just not there for this type of listing, but that wasn't it. We weren't even getting a real shot because when someone filtered for workspace, our listing was not showing up at all. And that's not a conversion problem. That is a visibility problem. And having audited over 100 listings in the past 12 months, those can be sometimes the hardest kind of mistakes to catch because nothing really looks broken. And what you need to know right now is that 1 in 5 bookings on Airbnb.com are longer term stays, remote workers, business travelers, and listings that clearly show a workspace tend to see 15 to 20% more bookings each month. So let me break it down a little further. So on a property doing about $3,000 a month, that is about $300 to $600 that is gone instantly, all because of one missing amenity. So what I want you to remember with this mistake is if you're seeing it in your listing, you need to show it in the photos. So include the desk, the chair, the extra outlets. If you have it, even include your Wi-Fi speed test. Make it really obvious for your potential guest. Now, on this next mistake, this is something that I had to learn the hard way. Pricing. So when we first got started, we had about 2 properties, and I can remember thinking we can just set a good price and leave it. So basically, that is what we did as we were starting out. And then we had a booking come in for football weekend. That came in about 6 months before the guests arrived. And that booking was only about $135 per night. And full confession, at the time, it felt like a win. We were locking in some of our vacant nights, so that way we're able to then focus on filling the other nights. So as the date for that guest started approaching, I checked into it, and one night stay was going for anywhere between $280 to $300 a night. And once it's booked, you're pretty much locked in. So that one booking cost us over $800. And it wasn't just that one. It actually kept happening in smaller ways as well. And that is when it clicked for me. Your listing is not static. So you cannot just set your pricing and never come back to it. And what the data shows is that most hosts who switch to a dynamic pricing software will see anywhere between 10 and 30% lift in their revenue. And that is without changing a single thing else. So if you're still adjusting your pricing manually, that is probably costing you money each week and each month. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to set the floor of your pricing and then set the ceiling of your pricing and then come back and look at it at least once a week to see if you need any minor tweaks. But you have got to switch to dynamic pricing as soon as possible in 2026. Now, let's shift gears for a second because this next mistake is not about pricing. It is about how your listing actually shows up. So go and pull up your listing on your phone. Now, not your laptop, your phone. And I want you to take notice of what you're seeing first because that is also what your guests see as well. We tested this on this property in Orlando, right by the convention center. And the listing description for this one opened with what I thought was a pretty strong paragraph. It looked good, but I can tell y'all it didn't matter because no one was reading it. And so once we realized that, we went ahead and moved the essentials up to the top of the listing. 3-bedroom, pool, 5 minutes to the convention center. And once we did that, booking improves within 10 days after making these changes. And those are the only things we changed, because now this listing makes sense. And what I want you to realize is, if someone cannot figure out your listing in just a few seconds, they're going to scroll past it and go to one that is much more clear to understand. And if you're setting up or fixing your Airbnb right now, I put together a room by room checklist based on what actually moved bookings on reviews in real properties. It'll save you a lot of money and time and a whole bunch of guesswork, and you can grab it down below in the description. And in this next mistake, this is where things actually start to get interesting, because up to this point, the mistakes that I've shared are mostly hidden leaks. But this next one, this is where most hosts sometimes can get fooled, because this one looks like success. So we worked with a host on this property in Scottsdale, Arizona. It is a 3-bedroom property, and at the time of working with them, they had about a 87% booking. So at first glance, this looks pretty solid. This is the thing that most hosts are trying to get to. But when we broke it down, the numbers were telling a slightly different story. And in this first version of the story, you have 26 nights booked, $95 average rate. That is roughly about $2,500 per month. But because most of the stays were shorter, that resulted in about 12 cleanings for that same period. So call it about $1,200 in cleaning costs. And for their net, they were getting about $1,300 per month. Now, compare that to this other listing nearby. And this is the second version of the story. They were getting about 20 nights booked, roughly around $165 average rate. That's about $3,300 per month with only about 7 cleanings. So that's roughly only $700 in cleaning for that same period. And so their net for that month is about $2,600 per month. That is on the same type of property. One is more booked, but making half as much money. And that is what high occupancy sometimes can hide. So instead of asking, am I booked? I want you to start asking, what is each stay actually worth? And there's also a quiet leak happening underneath all this. And it really is just math. And the Airbnb fee now is 15.5%. If you list the property at $200 per night, you're only keeping about $170 of that. And most hosts will set their pricing based on $200, not actually what they keep. So on 20 nights per month, that is roughly $600 gone every single month. And just to be clear, this only applies to Airbnb because VRBO and Booking.com are structured differently. So for this mistake, what I want you to understand is, if you're pricing the same across all the platforms, you are more than likely losing money. And so the fix here is, set your price based on what you want to keep, not what you list that property at. Now let's pivot to the next mistake, because this is where it starts to show up in your reviews, but not in ways that are always obvious. You may see something like, everything was great, a little tight in the mornings, but great. And I can tell you, sometimes that is as clear as the signal is going to get. And I reviewed this property, 4 bedrooms, 12 guests, 2 bathrooms. At first it seemed fine. Then within a couple of months, the ratings dropped from 4.9 to 4.7, which doesn't really sound dramatic until you dig a little closer. And that kind of drop can cut roughly 20% of your revenue or more. And that is with changing nothing else. It is just the friction of having a large guest count without having the adequate number of bathrooms to service those guests. And y'all, I can tell you, the guests aren't going to always come out and tell you that you don't have enough bathrooms. They're simply going to not return to your property in the future. And the reviews and their comments will not explicitly say this. So here's a rule I want you to follow. You need 1 bathroom for every 4 guests. And when you do that, it's going to lead you to get better reviews and allow you to charge much stronger pricing. Now let's get going to this next mistake, because this is where things can get expensive fast. And AirCover sounds like insurance at first glance, but I could tell y'all it is not. It is a decision that Airbnb makes after something goes wrong in a guest stay. And we had a guest that got a little wild, broke our television, burnt a hole in the couch, and punched a hole in the wall. We had everything documented with photos and videos, and Airbnb covered some things and some things they didn't. didn't. And I can tell y'all that was the issue because everything that Airbnb don't cover is something that you're going to have to come out of pocket for. And I worked with this host on this property in Dallas, roughly around $3,400 in damage, but Airbnb denied their claim. And in a single instance, that is months of profits that is wiped out. So yes, you should use AirCover, but don't rely on it exclusively to cover any damage to your property. I want to encourage you to get actual short-term rental insurance, and it will cost you between $80 to $150 a month, and you can recoup that in just making a single claim per year. Now, for this next mistake, let me just say clearly and carefully, because this one is easy to get wrong. Now, you may read the review and you know that it's not accurate, but your instinct is to maybe respond, you might be a little upset. So you're going to respond sometimes in anger. But what I want you to remind you of is when you're responding to a negative review, you're not actually responding to that guest. You're responding to a future guest that is going to read that review and decide if they should still book your property. And we looked at reviews for 2 listings. Similar rating, one converted worse. The only difference was the tone of the host's response. One host was defensive while the other was calm. So I want you to just acknowledge what happened, share what you fixed, and move on. That is it. You are not here trying to win an argument. You're simply trying to build trust with your future guests. Now, for this next mistake, we were slow to figure it out and it cost us as a result of it. So for a long time, we only used Airbnb as our primary platform. And that is because early on, we tried adding VRBO, but we ended up getting double bookings. And as a result of it, we kind of backed off and be like, okay, let's just try to get this one right over here. But as a result of that, it created a different risk. Because if Airbnb slowed down or maybe even pause your listing for any reason, everything else stops. And when you look at VRBO, well, it brings longer term stays, whereas Booking.com also helps you to fill last minute gaps. And in some cases, repeat guests. That is how you grow your margin, because even having something like a QR code in your property where you're capturing emails and sending folks a special can invite some of those guests back. And that is how you grow your margin and make more money on the platform. And for this next mistake, this is one that starts to help you tie it all together. And this was us early on, answering messages in the car, adjusting your price manually, trying to keep everything together, but in your head, not writing it down or creating any systems. And it worked until it didn't work. We started getting slow response, missed details, inconsistent experience, and those things compounded. But once we automated our messaging, our pricing, the guest check-in, everything tightened up and started to feel a lot more cohesive. And I could tell you a lot less stressful. We started getting faster responses, better reviews, and more consistent bookings. Now, speed matters more than you think in this instance. And when you take a step back, none of these feel really that big or sometimes even that obvious. And that is why they are easy to miss. But together, y'all, they start to stack up, and they stack up pretty quickly. $100 here, $200 there. And that is how you start to lose $1,000 a month without even knowing where that money's going. And the part that can be frustrating for most hosts is that sometimes these don't show up on your dashboard. You just feel like you're losing money. So I'm curious, as you're watching this video, which of these are you dealing with right now? And if you're like me, the one that feels the smallest may be the one that is actually costing you the most money. But here's the thing, even if you fix all of this, your listing still has to convert. Your title, your photos, your description. And that is what turns views into bookings. And I break that down step by step in this next video. And I'll see you over there, because when you pair what you've learned in this video with that one, you're going to be ahead of 90% of the other hosts in your market. I'll see you over there.